There's something special about driving alone, just you, the road, and the quiet hum of the engine. No small talk, no distractions, just miles of open space and your own thoughts. It's a kind of solitude that isn't lonely, a space where you can breathe, reflect, and feel truly present. And if there's one thing that makes that moment even better, it's a hot cup of coffee. It's 2 a.m., you're halfway through a cross-country drive, your eyes are getting heavy, and there's only one thing that can save you: a steaming cup of gas station coffee. It's not fancy, it's not artisan, and it's probably been sitting on the burner for hours, but in that moment, it's exactly what you need. Forget pour-over techniques and single-origin beans. Gas station coffee doesn't have time for that. It's made for people on the go. Truck drivers hauling overnight shipments, night shift workers heading home, exhausted parents trying to survive a road trip, and punks crammed into a van chasing their next gig. The beauty of gas station coffee is in its simplicity. It doesn't ask for approval from coffee snobs. It doesn't care about tasting notes of citrus and caramel. It's there to do one thing: keep you awake. Gas station coffee exists on a spectrum. On one end, you have the sad, burnt sludge that tastes like regret. On the other, you'll occasionally stumble upon a hidden gem, freshly brewed, surprisingly smooth, and actually enjoyable. Then there's the in-between, coffee that's fine, not great, not terrible, just enough to keep you going. Some gas stations have upped their game with bean-to-cup machines and branded blends, but at its core, gas station coffee remains the same: hot, cheap, and available at all hours. But how did they become such a staple of the American road experience? Highway diners were the original roadside rest stops. Before highways crisscrossed the country, travelers had few options for food and rest along the road. In the early 1900s, most long-distance travel was done by train, and dining cars were the primary source of food on the go. But as automobiles became more common, America needed places to eat that didn't require getting off the road. The 1920s and 1930s saw the rise of the first highway diners and small eateries along major travel routes, particularly along Route 66 and the Lincoln Highway. Many of these early diners were converted train cars or prefabricated buildings, making them easy to set up along growing highways. They offered cheap, fast food for hungry travelers, simple meals like burgers, eggs, and of course coffee. One of the earliest and most iconic roadside restaurant chains was Howard Johnson's, which started in the 1920s and expanded alongside the interstate highway system. With its bright orange roofs and reliable food, it became the blueprint for the roadside diner experience. Gas stations themselves date back to the early 1900s, but they were originally just refueling spots. The first dedicated gas station, built in 1913 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, sold nothing but fuel. It wasn't until the 1920s and 1930s that gas stations started evolving into roadside convenience stops, selling snacks, cigarettes, and, eventually, coffee. By the 1940s and 1950s, as America's highway system expanded, gas stations began catering more to long-haul travelers. Truck stops, in particular, became major hubs for food and coffee, offering a place to refuel both the truck and the driver. Why coffee? It keeps drivers awake. With long, often exhausting hours on the road, drivers needed something to keep them alert. Coffee doesn't require refrigeration and can be brewed in large batches, making it perfect for roadside service. Its cheap and profitable gas stations and diners could sell coffee at a low price while making a good profit. By the 1960s and 1970s, gas station coffee was everywhere. It wasn't always good, but it was always there, a lifeline for travelers at any hour of the day or night. The mid-20th century was the golden era for diners and gas station coffee. The expansion of the interstate highway system, launched in 1956, made long-distance road travel easier than ever. This was also the era of fast food chains, which began competing with traditional diners along the highways. McDonald's started popping up near highway exits, offering quick meals for travelers. Stuckey's became famous for its pecan rolls and coffee along southern highways. TIA Travel Centers of America, founded in the 1970s, and Pilot Flying J transformed truck stops into full-service traveler hubs, where coffee became a crucial part of the experience. Even though diners began to decline in the 1980s and 1990s as fast food took over, gas station coffee only grew in importance. Companies like 7-Eleven revolutionized self-serve coffee, letting customers pour their own cup and customize it however they liked. For decades, gas station coffee had a reputation for being burnt, weak, or just plain bad. But in recent years, things have changed. With the rise of better brewing technology and third-wave coffee culture, even gas stations have started stepping up their coffee game. Many gas stations now use bean-to-cup machines, ensuring fresh coffee instead of hours-old sludge. Some major chains like Wawa, Sheetz, Buc-ee's, and Quick Trip are known for having legitimately good coffee, offering different roasts, flavored creamers, and espresso drinks. Pilot Flying J now partner with brands like Seattle's Best to bring better coffee to the road. Gas station coffee and highway diners have been fueling America's road trips for over a century. They've seen families off on vacations, kept truckers awake on long hauls, and provided a sense of comfort to late-night wanderers. There's a kind of peace that only comes with being alone on the road. The world feels wider, your thoughts feel clearer, and the simple pleasure of a warm cup of coffee becomes something almost sacred. So next time you're out there driving alone with miles ahead of you, don't rush. Take a moment. Pull over, grab a coffee. Let it warm your hands, your mind, and your spirit. Because sometimes the best conversations you'll ever have are the quiet ones, with yourself, the road, and a cup of coffee. Whether you're grabbing a styrofoam cup from a 24-hour gas station or sliding into a vinyl booth at a classic diner, one thing is certain: the road is long, and coffee is always there to keep you going. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to give Silencio Coffee a try.